Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Alex and today I'd like to make a video about PowerSlave Exhumed from Nightdive Studios. And at first, I was thinking of doing essentially a retro review of this game. But looking online, I quickly saw that there were already a lot of reviews for the game and many of them very, very well done. And I do recommend them. I may put some links in the description. So instead, I stood back and rather than making a review, I decided to kind of take a broader view of what Nightdive had accomplished with PowerSlave Exhumed. And what was very interesting about PowerSlave Exhumed is the fact that in many ways, Nightdive kind of undercut the scalper market for this game. Because even today, I looked on eBay, and I'm like, well, how much is this game going for? Because now this game has been released, and maybe the price has dropped. And just when listing today, I saw that this game, PowerSlave Exhumed, PowerSlave Exhumed is the current release, but PowerSlave for the Sega Saturn was $250 in a complete in-box set. So what Nightdive has accomplished is that it kind of hit the sweet spot with this release. Now, if people want to play PowerSlave, they are not forced to buying a very expensive copy for the Sega Saturn or the PlayStation and get the hardware, and then they're trying to also assemble maybe a complete in-box set, which drives the prices even higher. You know, having a disc, having a case, having an instruction manual. So now, the question of access has been solved. If you want to pay PowerSlave, you have a very good release here with PowerSlave Exhumed, and it came out on almost every console. You know, Switch, PC, which is the version I'm playing right now, PlayStation, Xbox, you name it. And the number of enhancements that Nightdive has put in has been enormous. You got CRT filters, as you can see here with the display setting. You can do CRT, you can do anti-aliasing, all sorts of shaders. You have advanced audio options like 5.1 audio. Enormous upgrades to the game that you're not going to see in the Saturn or the PlayStation. So if people want to sit down and play PowerSlave, this very unique Metroid Prime type of game that was released before Metroid Prime, and kind of see where the genesis of where that came from. Not to mention a very good game on its own right. You know, very unique Egyptian setting, very fun, action-based combat. Now PowerSlave is available without being forced to go onto eBay or some other websites to try and get a copy of PowerSlave. Yes, I know there was a PC release, but there were a lot of issues with that release from what I've learned. And this leads to a business case or business use that I really hope Nightdive continues to expand on. And that is really targeting these type of titles from the 1990s that are very rare, very hard to get, and solve the problem of access and availability. While at the same time, by doing so, they don't completely undercut or cut the feed out from the collector's market. They cut the feed out from the scalper's market. You know, as a collector, I understand that people, particularly when they put a lot of time and effort and money to try and get original titles, they don't want to see that completely undercut, and it won't be. The only ones that are going to be suffering are the scalpers. who hoard these type of titles, jack the price up, as we've seen with the RAM Apocalypse right now is a good example. Only in the sense of maximizing profit, yeah, rather than in the cases of preservation, appreciation, exploration, and things, and pride of ownership and things like that. So even now, with the release of PowerSlave Exhumed, the actual physical titles for the Sega Saturn and the PlayStation, I believe, although I haven't checked the PlayStation right now, they haven't crashed, but I think they've kind of set to their natural economic level without being artificially pumped up by scalpers. And so with PowerSlave, this is the prime example of what I think Nightdive should continue to do. The Sega Saturn especially is a treasure trove of titles. There are enormous titles in the Sega Saturn that are not in print anymore, you can't get anymore. The only way is to pay enormous prices to get the titles and the hardware of the Sega Saturn. I've looked back recently to see if I can reassemble my Saturn collection after, you know, I had to sell it for personal reasons. And I went back and I looked, I'm like, oh my god, the prices were enormous. And there's no way I'm going to pay these enormous prices when I can use that money and get modern titles and hardware, and get a lot more of them than trying to reassemble my collection. So for Nightdive, great job, a great approach. Really glad they did it with PowerSlave Exhumed, and we're seeing it with other titles like Turok and System Shock, Heretic and Hexen. Really looking forward to playing that when I pick it up. And really, you know, keep doing what they're doing. You know, keep going into particularly Saturn library, pick up Dragon Force. You know, maybe work with Sega to help bring about some of their older titles. Maybe they can be a sharing agreement, a profit sharing agreement between Sega and Nightdive. Nightdive has proven they have the pedigree and the expertise and the skills to do this and do it extremely well. And I think Sega could be extremely on board with that. Because Sega only has so many resources themselves. And of course they want to keep their modern titles like your Like a Dragon or the former Yakuza series. You know, they need to keep them going and supported in order to keep the company going, as well as their publishing business and things like that. They can't cover every single base, but Nightdive would be a perfect fit, I think, for Sega to really bring about the update and discovery of their older library that, you know, maybe outside of Sonic and a couple of other things that people may not be familiar with, but would certainly enjoy being able to play and having access to. So anyways, just a quick video. This is for my PowerSlave kind of expose, my review. I hope you enjoyed it. I probably won't do a full-on review of this game because, again, a lot of reviews have already been done and they've been very good. But rather, I want to just kind of give a unique perspective of what Nightdive have done and really encourage that and to keep it going. So anyways, hope you enjoy this. Stay tuned. If you like this content, please let me know. Give me a comment. If you have any ideas or anything you want me to expand on or fix or improve, I'm always open to feedback. So thank you, everyone. Talk to you soon and stay safe.